Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. In this podcast, we like to tackle the CNC industry specifically and really talk a little bit about business in general. Hopefully, you'll find some entertainment throughout it and hopefully some education. But the next episode starts right now. Welcome back to Talkin Shop. I am your host, Brandon Bombardo. I am here with Nick Peters today.
Hello, Brandon.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just kicking off another episode here of Talkin Shop. I'm excited to go through what we have today. Got a lot to cover in a little time, don't we?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, there's a lot today. I kind of wrote a lot today.
You've done it an hour and a half?
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. This one might be a little longer episode, and I'm okay with it.
Like 7 pages of notes.
7 pages of notes, and we're gonna get through them all. So, no, yeah, it's good to be back on the podcast. I'm feeling good. How you feeling today?
I'm good, actually.
Yeah.
Feeling back to about 98.4%. So
Well, that's good.
all is good.
Well, let's jump into some of the current events, huh? Let's talk about a little bit about the state fair, man. It's right around the corner.
3 days away. 2 days. I mean, it'll be tomorrow once the podcast is posted.
Yeah, tomorrow. I'm pretty pumped about that. Me and my wife go every year, first day of the fair.
I know what you're most excited for.
What am I excited for?
Dill pickle lemonade.
No.
The best thing at the fair.
I'm not doing it.
Best thing at the
I know you try to get me every year to do it.
Just try it.
I can't.
If you don't like it, I will give you the money to pay for it.
It's not about the money. I don't want to taste it.
Because you're going to like it, and then you're going to have to say that I was right, and then you're going to be mad for having to say it.
There's a small part of me that would be true.
I think it's more than a small part.
I am most excited about the corn. Not going to lie.
Dill pickle pizza?
No.
That's really good too.
What?
Is corn your favorite thing at the fair, though?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. I go specifically for the corn. Like, if I walked in, was like, I could buy one thing and then walk out, it'd be corn.
I'd get dill pickle lemonade and leave. But
would you?
Me, yeah. But every year, I get the first thing I get is a foot-long hot dog.
I do a Pronto Pup.
Why? It's just like...
That's the first thing I always do. It's a Pronto Pup.
Same thing as a corn dog?
No.
Are they the difference?
They're different.
I don't eat either one, so I have no idea.
Corn dogs have corn... what do you call it? The batter. Corn batter.
Corn batter? And Prontos have Pronto batter?
Yes, Pronto batter. No, it's like I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's a different taste.
Really?
So I think it's a flour, if I'm not
So
mistaken.
it's more like a pancake?
Yeah, exactly what it is.
Maybe I would like that, actually.
It is. It's like a pancake. It's a pancake batter style. Like, that's what it is.
They should make a Pronto Pup with the
Breakfast sausage in the middle.
Yeah, but have the syrup infused.
This episode is over. Me and Nick are going to set up our Pronto.
It's like $1 billion idea.
Dude, why are we not? Come on.
Oh, I guess this is my 2-week notice.
I'm with you. We're both done in 2 weeks.
That would be awesome, though.
Dude, that's a good idea.
How did we come up with that?
We're so smart.
I think we should unrecord this and start over. And
we need to start over and not mention our $1 billion idea.
It's going to be at the fair next year.
Dang it. Somebody just took our idea. Well, just make sure you mention us. Mention Talkin Shop when you go rip us off. Yeah. So I'm excited for that.
I have a love-hate relationship with the fair.
Why?
Because I obviously love the food.
Right.
It's always hot.
And
so
you
I hate that. And the people, people are just obnoxious.
They are obnoxious.
You're pushing 2 kids in a stroller that's the size of a minivan.
And you got to go through, you got to go through traffic. Yeah.
It just, don't get me started. That would be an hour in itself.
I agree. But you know what? I get to go see Ricky and Sons. So shout out to Ricky and Sons. I always go visit them at the fair every year. They're a ShopSabre customer, have a plasma table. They will be found in the grandstand for anybody who's local going out there.
And no joke, they have the best looking booth in there.
Dude, it's awesome.
It's all fancy, nice looking wood with all their stuff hanging. It's awesome.
Travis and Jackie kill it every year. So shout out to those two. Thanks for the support at ShopSabre. But we're going to head out there. I'm sure my wife will find more stuff for the house. She always does every year when we come visit your booth. So
maybe they'll have scooters.
Oh, that'd be...
Get a scooter.
Could you imagine if they allowed scooters at the fair?
She'd make you ride it all the way home.
Could you imagine if they allowed scooters at the fair, though?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
That might be worse than strollers.
It would be worse than strollers. I'd be jumping on curbs.
I'd find a stick and throw it in the wheels if they ran me into me.
I'd risk it. Yeah, so pretty excited about the fair. Then we got PRI. That's coming up in December. So anybody who knows what PRI is, the Performance Racing Industry Show. It's biggest racing show. I think it's the biggest racing show in the United States. I think.
I feel like I remember reading that at some point. You guys get to escape some winter weather here in Minnesota to go to Indianapolis. Probably still kind of.
I say it's still winter. So yeah, it's not as bad though.
Cold,
but yeah, it was. And guess what? I get to do when I'm in Indianapolis.
Ride scooters.
Ride scooters. Let's go
on the ice.
You know what's worse? this year, I got a hotel really close. And now I wish I was at the hotel we were in last year, which was really far away.
Rebook it.
Yeah. Because the one really far away, I could have rode the scooter then and got my enjoyment out of it.
And probably could have saved enough money to buy a scooter by being farther away.
Dang it.
I'm full of really good ideas.
I sold my kid's snowmobile.
I know your wife hates my ideas, but I think that
I'm buying one. I sold the kids the snowmobile.
that's nice. So you just get rid of all your kids' toys so you can get your own toy.
Ah, right. That's what I said.
Seems fair.
Get a job. That's what I told.
A lot of sense, actually.
See? Wins.
They can ride the scooter to their jobs.
Yeah. We got to give a shout out to JB, the founder of ShopSabre. It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Jim.
Brought us all cupcakes.
Cupcakes. I brought cupcakes.
Well, I mean,
he didn't bring cupcakes.
No, but it looked like he was carrying.
He was a little taken back when I brought balloons and cupcakes into his office. But yes, he went and handed them out.
He's definitely not the type to celebrate.
He's not. He's not that guy.
But he'll be the first person to celebrate somebody else's birthday. Right?
He is that guy. Yes. But yeah, so we celebrated his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to Jim. So anybody watching this, make sure you leave that in the comments. Let's
for sure
blow up Facebook for Jim. And then school fires back up. Well, my wife's back in school already.
That's crazy.
It fired up like Monday.
Summer's over, kids.
Get back to school.
Back to school, back to work. Not staying up all night and sleeping all day.
Fortnighting all day.
Golly.
Yep. Summer hockey ended yesterday. Was our final game. My son, they won 4-1. My son was doing snow angels in the net. He was so bored. I wish I would have got a video of it.
Not surprising though.
Yeah, his mom. It was so funny. So all four of us coaches are on the bench laughing because Caden is in the net, literally doing snow angels while our team's in the other end. And if you look over, you can find who's the goalie's mom. Yeah, my wife is in the stand, and she is like giving him the evil air, like get up now, like trying to get his attention. And he's over there just snow angel and having the time of his life.
He knows she's doing it. He's just behind his mask laughing at her, like I'm not getting up.
I asked him last night in bed. I put him to bed last night. I'm like, hey. I'm like, doing snow angels makes your mom mad, right? He goes, I know. That's why I did so many of them. He's like, she couldn't get out there to get me.
Where did he learn that from?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I was like, as I told him, like, you gotta be nice to your mom, dude. I'm like, come on. He's like, Dad, it was funny. Yeah, like, it was funny. You're right. So I had to give him some props on that.
That's funny. It's hilarious.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just crazy when you think about school starting. Winter hockey's gonna be firing up here. We got tryouts coming up in a couple of weeks.
I mean, we're halfway through the third quarter.
Don't say it like that. It doesn't feel good.
It'll be Christmas in no time.
We need more time left in this year. Anytime.
It's just crazy how fast it's gone by, though.
It is crazy.
It's faster than normal.
I feel like it's flying. The older you get, I think it goes faster. And that's the problem.
If anybody knows old on this show, it's me.
Anybody knows old, it's you. I like that one. We should stick with that. That should be the name of this segment. If anybody knows old, it's Nick. And then we'll just have you name something old.
I don't think of what I can name.
It's a good thing.
I don't want to be mean to anybody.
The Titanic. All right, moving on. Whoa.
She doesn't listen to this.
I'm going to send it to her. Moving on to the next segment. Customer questions and comments. So this week, we had a bunch of comments and questions, but I had to pick some. So I'm sorry for those that sent stuff in and I did not use yours. I promise you I may use it in the future episodes. But first question or comment of the day was, how come we don't ever use the 23 for our videos? Or why don't we ever do videos on the 23? First off, great observation, right? It's a good observation. We definitely don't use it that much. And the answer is not going to be super sexy. I'm sorry. I know you're expecting this like grand, like it's only because we have an IS machine in the showroom and we use it for training. Right. And it makes sense to have a bigger machine when you're doing training because our training classes are 15 to 20 people. So having 15 to 20 people around a 2-foot machine is a lot harder than around a 8-foot machine. So that's the first reason. The other reason is we just don't have any 23 sitting around. I mean, we build them to order specifically. So we don't have machines just sitting around waiting to be run. And honestly, it makes more sense for us to showcase it on an IS anyways, because that's the bulk volume of our business. We do a lot of business on the larger machines. So demonstrating projects on a smaller machine would be a lot harder simply because it's not efficient to put a small sheet. You have to cut it all up. And obviously businesses are trying to find out efficient ways to run their companies. So we try to show nesting and all the things that happen on a bigger machine. And the functionality of a 23 is identical in terms of the controller to an IS. So we're really not showing you how to run a 23 when we're showing you an IS.
That's what I was going to say. You just got to kind of imagine it on a smaller scale, right?
Correct.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's a smaller, lighter, less quick machine is what the 23 is.
Yeah.
Like it's built for a home hobbyist, R&D, educational setting. It's not a high production machine, where the IS is just built for all of that. So if we're going to do projects and things, it just makes sense for us to do it on that. So I know it's not a great answer. It's not what you're hoping to hear. And I know that you would love me to do videos on the 23, but yeah, I got to consider the amount of resources it takes to put a video together and the people and the time. And it just makes sense to be on the same machine every month rather than having to set machines up and change them. And it's just trying to be efficient so we can keep bringing you the best equipment possible here in the United States versus having to outsource overseas because of margins or having to cut corners on machine quality simply so we can do a video on something else. Like we'd rather put the money into things that are going to make you money.
Yep.
So that's my answer for that one.
How's that answer? It's a good answer.
And then question 2 of the day was, any other ideas on hold down fixturing other than vacuum? And he said specifically talking about holding his fixtures down. And it came from the video of the 4th axis, because we showed the 4th axis on a board using the board held down by vacuum. He said he doesn't want to spend the money on the electricity running his vacuum. It's fair. I understand the thought. Although the pump running, in my opinion, should overcome the cost of the project, right? Like, or the project should overcome the cost of the electricity.
So it should be, I mean, figure that into your pricing then, right? If you're not worried about it.
And that's exactly it. The pricing of your project probably needs to be adjusted if the running the pump is causing an issue there. My opinion is the pump is going to create more efficiency. It's less time spent setting up. That's why I do it that way.
And it's going to pay, then in turn, it's going to pay for the electricity you're paying for.
Correct.
And it's 5 times more things.
Exactly. It's just an efficiency thing. But if you're not wanting to do that, and I understand there's some situations where for whatever reason you just can't, then, I get it. If your clients aren't paying for the electricity, which they should be, like I said, you should be putting it into your bids. Then, you have to look at clamps, clamping the board down, or if you have a phenolic tabletop, you can drill and tap into the tabletop, bolt it down. But one thing to think about with that, cautious, don't drill a hole in your vacuum table, because if you drill a hole in your vacuum table, you're going to leak air and it's not going to work as well.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to cap it or come up with a plan. But drilling and tapping into the tabletop is a solution. Clamping is probably more popular, but
safer.
Yeah, it's kind of up to you, whatever you want to do. I mean, rule number 1, the rule number 1 of hold down, there are no rules. Whatever you can do to hold it down. So whether you want to clamp it, you want to bolt it, you want to use a vacuum, they're all great solutions. We just use vacuum because it's efficient. And in the past videos, we've clamped. And so in this video, we purposely showed vacuum because we had a lot of people in the last video ask, well, what if I want to use my vacuum? So it's just it's funny. Now you show vacuum and now people want to see the clamp video again. So yeah, but like I said, rule number 1 of hold down, there are no rules. Yay, no rules. Those are my favorite rules.
Sounds a lot like us here at ShopSabre.
Rule number 1, don't talk about Epicor.
We won't say what rule number 2 is.
I don't remember rule number 2. Rule number 3. No. Question number 3. Work smarter, not harder with ShopSabre. First off, love that phrase.
Yes.
That was great. Great phrase. But the customer was sharing a fun project. He was using his IS machine. He had just gotten an IS. Hey, my eyes are up here. Eyes are up here.
Oh, sorry.
Nick keeps staring down. But I was saying I don't know why I wanted to say.
Now it's awkward.
I wanted to say eyes up here.
No, that's weird.
But he was cutting a butcher block countertop, which I don't know why, but I love butcher block countertops. They are
they look cool.
They are just awesome. Yeah, I agree. And he was talking about how he hadn't done it for years. And he said because before he had to glue everything up and cut it into smaller sections so he could put it on his, I think it was 32 or 36 inch wide belt sander, and then sand it and then, build it in sections that way. And then he said eventually he moved to a sliding routers table and then, kind of now has graduated into a ShopSabre. And he's like, I can't believe how easy it was. He was just pointing out like how awesome it was. And there's a picture of him. I think his feet were up on the table.
I remember that.
Yeah, his feet were like up on it and it's like cutting. And he's like, and for me, I just love seeing the excitement of like watching somebody take that leap of faith and reduce the labor time and just make their life so much easier by just going into automation.
And it's just, it's confirmation of what we try telling people all the time.
Right.
And people can actually see it from others and not just hear from us while you're trying to sell them something, right?
Well, that's exactly it. I just love those stories because they're everything that we talk about coming to life. And I think people do sometimes think we just tell stories to tell stories. And it's like, no, I'm just telling you what really is said or what I'm finding in the industry, and again, I'm just an everyday guy, just like everybody else. I do the same thing as all of you. We're no different. We've just scaled, right? We've gotten larger over the years, but we were no different than any other shop that didn't have automation at one point. I mean, for God's sakes, we used to drill every single table by hand and then tap them by hand. Like that's where we came from. Yep. Remember, I got fired for that because I tried to automate that. So but it's the truth. Like people just assume because we have all these mills and everything that we've always been this size, but it's not. And it's like, I love watching the companies that were us 25 years ago.
That's what I was going to say. Like you talk about that all the time while people getting to that point.
Excuse me.
And like you said, people probably just assume that that's what you always did, right? But you're just telling people to get to where you are today, right? Like you were doing things by hand, doing things without automation, and you just had to grow enough to get there and then invest in those things, right, to be more productive. And now think about how much that's changed lead times and gotten things done faster compared to doing things by hand. I mean,
well, I just think about we couldn't even have taken on the work we've taken on today if we had done things the way we used to do it. So yeah, I just love hearing the confirmation for what we're doing here, which we're going to talk about a little bit here. I mean, honestly, this leads into our topic of the day, which is scaling sustainably and growth without burnout. And before we jump into that, I want to jump into the audience question, because I always enjoy this part of the episode because it's nice to like make people think. And I'm one of those guys that's like critical thinking. I like to put something out there for somebody to go, you know what, I never thought of that, but now that you brought it up, like I'm going to get my brain going.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Let's jump into the audience question. This week's audience question, take it away, Nick.
If you could instantly solve one challenge in your business or job today, what impact would it have a year from now?
I love that question. One more time, Nick.
If you could instantly solve one challenge in your business or job today, what impact would it have a year from now?
I love it. So for me, I think would be labor constraints. And I think a year from now, that could open up a lot of doors that are otherwise harder to open today for us. When I think about labor constraints, I'm talking about we can never hire enough people, it seems like, that are qualified. That's my biggest constraint I run into is like finding qualified people, whether it be in the welding department, because finding someone who says they're a welder versus somebody who meets the standards is two different things.
Yep.
And that's where I'm talking about, like just being able to find people in not just the welding. I just use that as an example, but sales guys, marketing, whatever department you look at, like being able to just know that there's no labor constraint.
Yep.
That would be great. Like that, if there was enough people out there, I think that would help, us expand at levels that we would be capable of. But the problem is we're somewhat labor constrained because we have to wear multiple hats, right?
Yep.
Like as an example, Ben's a perfect example of this. Ben Rugg, who is a rock star. Ben Rugg wears an IT hat. He wears a tech support hat. He wears an R&D hat. Like he can't be in all three spots at once.
Right.
So when he's out traveling for tech support, he's not here in the building helping with R&D efforts. So then R&D projects get slowed. And it's like, it'd be great to just have his efforts here because we have the labor to be able to have enough people to travel.
Right. Makes sense.
That's my answer. What's your answer?
It's really funny that you put this question out here this week because on Sunday night when I was doing a photo shoot, the mom and the girl we were doing photos for asked why I don't do it full time. It's just like a couple nights a week thing or whatever as a hobby. And it's
you said my name, didn't you?
Not specifically your name, but it was part of the answer because
I was trying to be funny.
I know, but
you're like, oh, I just like working with Brandon. That's why.
No, I don't want to go to your head. But it was, so my first answer to her was because I enjoy doing this as a hobby and it's fun. Right. And if I turn this into my full-time job, trying to find enough clients to, have every week to pay your bills, right? Raise your family, all that, all that fun stuff, right? Then it adds the stress to it and it becomes more stressful and not a fun hobby, right?
I never even thought of that.
And I feel like if it gets to that point, you're not going to have fun doing the photos. You're not going to get the results that you get because you're going to be stressing about things that are coming up this week or making sure you have people, right? And I told her, I'm like, that is my number one reason.
Right.
And number two is because I really enjoy what I do for a job right now. And it's like, I enjoy the freedoms that having that job allows me, which is working Monday through Friday, having weekends off with my kids, having nights off with my family, having time to go out and do those photo shoots that are really fun. So it's kind of a two-pronged answer to like go around. Like kudos to all the people that can like do photography full time and have And I know it kind of goes against what we always talk about, like take a chance on yourself, have the confidence you can do it. So it kind of goes.
You still do though, because you still are out there like putting yourself out there. You're making money off it.
For
sure. You do a fantastic. You've been featured. Let's take it here a little bit further. You've been featured on the news.
Yep.
You've been featured nationwide. You've been featured in magazines. Like it's not like you're not putting yourself out there.
Yep. But it's just it's one of those things where in any job, if you add that stress to it, I just feel like it'll take the fun out of it.
So what would you change then? I guess what's the answer to this question? What if you could solve, what would it be?
I mean, to have guaranteed clients every month.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like to know, it's kind of a difficult answer with photography, maybe just because.
But that would be the thing. How would it affect you in a year?
If I knew and I was guaranteed that I would have, let's say, 15 sessions every month,
right?
X amount of dollars, and I knew that I would make that amount of money,
right?
And it was guaranteed every month for a year from now, then maybe
I'll do it.
Yeah. But
which makes sense. I mean,
would that continue year after year after year? Or would that be just, you know what I mean? There's a lot of variables that go into it, especially when, like I said, you have kids and a family that are relying on you to make a living, right? So
I get that.
That's my answer, I guess.
I loved the thing that, people don't sometimes think about with that too, is that you said the nights and weekends off right now, that you then don't get them off because if you're scheduling these events, they happen. Right. Like I'm a perfect example, right? If I'm going to schedule you to take photos, it's not going to happen during the day because I'm here.
Right.
So it's going to be nights or weekends when I need you to do that.
Yeah. I mean, the best time to do photos is obviously right before sunset or right after sunrise. Right. Nobody's getting up at 5 a.m. to do photos. Let's be honest.
Let's do it.
Okay. You would, but your kids would, and they would hate it.
Well, they didn't exactly love it the last time we were there either.
Well, I mean, sure.
We have a family photo without Ethan.
It happens. Trust me, it happens. And that was far from the worst experience.
That was my favorite though. So. Hey, Nick, take the family photo. Ethan's just off in the weeds, mad.
Gone, just mad. Yeah. He was over it. He lasted like 30 minutes. And he's like,
Yeah, he's like, I'm done. We've taken enough photos. That's funny. Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's all good stuff. So again, for you, the audience, we'd love to hear from you. If you could instantly solve one challenge in your business or job today, what impact would it have a year from now? So think about that. Put it in the comment section. Shoot us an email, whatever's easiest for you. And we're going to jump into scaling sustainably, growth without the burnout. So this week's topic. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can scale your business in a sustainable way. Because I think that's the thing, is scaling a business is one thing.
Yep.
But doing it in a sustainable way. And, I think many people, including myself, okay, admittedly, this was me, think that just you inject a ton of labor time and say yes to everything, and you're going to grow your business. And
maybe for that week.
Right. And that's what I was going to say is many times this does work. I will say I've tried it. We've done it. However, it's not sustainable. Right. Like you end up in a situation because eventually you wear yourself out. For one, your energy wears out eventually. I don't care how physically or mentally strong you are, you wear out. And then my question goes is, after you wear yourself out, who else does it wear out?
Your employees.
Your employees, your family. Like there's a number of people behind you in line there. Okay. So maybe you can be the shield and you're wearing out first, but once you wear out, now it's immediately all that burden is on everybody else and you're less enjoyable to be around.
Yep.
Because now you're burnt out, and anybody in the world who experiences burnout becomes a less enjoyable person to be around.
Right.
Either they're overly tired and cranky, they're angry, they're forgetful, whatever it is, they become less of a person they normally would be. Right.
Yep.
And so then you got to think about how can you grow your business in a more sustainable way, right? One thing is often overlooked, and it's simply, what can you do that you're already doing, but just growing more of that, right? Like I think sometimes people think outside the box to grow their business. I got to come up with a new product, or I got to do this to no. How are you growing currently? Let's just cultivate that.
I mean, I think one of the first things you have to go back to is finding more good employees, right?
Right.
So that you can sustain the amount of work you want to do and grow into more work,
right,
while keeping the quality the same, right? And if you do it wrong and have employees that are burnt out, not happy at work, your quality is going to go down.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Right. And that's exactly it. I mean, there's parts of that, again, it's not always about hiring people. Like you said, that might be part of it. Some of it's automation, some of it's processes. But, let's just, an example that I like to talk about here is cabinetry, right? A lot of cabinet shops that I talk to outsource. They're not actually doing all the work themselves. They're cutting maybe the base cabinets, or they're cutting, the cabinet box, but they're outsourcing the doors and drawers. A lot of guys do that. And they simply, by bringing that in-house, think about all the work you just brought in-house to grow. your business is larger because you've brought all that work back in house.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but I'm going to burn people out because now they got to do the work. Yeah, if you don't do anything differently.
Right.
But you might be able to buy the door. And I hear this a lot of times. I can buy the door cheaper than I can make it. False.
There's
1,000% false. Yeah. And I don't argue with business owners because they get set in their ways sometimes. But I hear it way too much. You can't buy them cheaper than you can buy a material. I'm sorry.
Right. That makes no sense.
Like you just can't. Like nobody's buying the material at a loss. So they're buying the material at the same price you should be able to buy it for if you're doing the volume. So maybe you're paying too much for material. That's what you're telling me. You know, you're not negotiating your price.
Right.
Because if it's true that you're buying the door cheaper than you can make it, or the drawer cheaper than you can make, then you are spending too much money on material.
So maybe if somebody's going on to buy one sheet of material, hoping
Correct.
a few doors, then
correct.
Sure, maybe it costs you more, but if you buy it in bulk, like we all know, you can get a better price.
Bulk volume all day.
You're gonna make 100 doors.
Yep.
For the same price as you buy 50 for.
Yeah, and if you're doing your own, you can negotiate the pricing on the sheets because you have volume now, right?
Yep.
You have something that you are going to consistently buy. So you can negotiate with your supplier. And then my thing that people don't realize is now you're buying all that material. You can negotiate your other material too. So all of your material comes down. So now you're actually increasing your margins and your profits on the work that you were already doing anyways.
Right. By adding more.
So you've just grown your business without actually adding anything other than doing the work you were already doing.
Right.
And that's where I think people sometimes lose track of like ways they can grow their business. And, you know, if you're going to another shop and paying them, you know, of course you're not going to have the work for it right now. That's the other thing I was trying to, well, you know, I don't see enough work. I'm not going to go to a shop that can't do it.
Right.
Why would I go ask him to build me it?
Yep.
But if you start building doors or you start building doors, other people are going to start coming to you as well. And now suddenly you're the guy cutting their stuff or the gal that's cutting it. And at that point, there's no reason for them to go somewhere else because you can do it.
And you're telling them yes instead of no.
Right. So yeah, you're not getting the business before because you're not advertising you can do it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the first thing. And then, you know, people go, well, again, I can't do it. Well, you can if you have the equipment to do it.
Correct.
Right. You already have a machine that's cutting the cabinets. And then it's sitting idle for 4 days a week because I'm going to be honest, most cabinet makers, the machines are far more efficient than they are from an install standpoint.
Yep.
So the machine's not running around the clock. And therefore, any downtime on that machine is paid time you didn't make money with it.
Yeah.
Because you pay the payment once a month.
You could have somebody there you're paying to make doors and it's making you more money.
Correct.
While you're out doing your installs or whatever.
Right.
So your machine's still running and making you money.
Right.
Instead of just having, like you said, having it sit there turned off.
And that's my thing is that machine's payment you made. Say you pay $1,000 a month. That's $1,000 for the month.
And that's like a fixed amount that you know is going to be there.
Right.
It's not anything that changes. So you know you have to get to that point. So why not make the machine be as efficient as possible?
Correct.
Print more money with it.
Cut drawers, cut doors, do that stuff. You know, so that's just another option in the closets. You know, it's in a whole other world. You can do it in the closet world. Guys are paying California closet for the closets.
Yeah.
Why don't you just cut your own closets? Like you can build your own. So that's the thing that I start thinking about where guys can grow their business and gals can grow their businesses that they miss it, you know? And yeah, you know, working your employees longer and harder will only turn them against your business. So you don't want to just take on the work and then say, figure it out, right? You have to find a sustainable way to do that, right? And automation can be a way to boost your business because now you're not working your people any harder. In fact, you're probably going to turn out more work in less time. They're going to work less hard than they were before. And you guys are going to grow the business. Everybody's going to be happy.
Correct. And they're going to enjoy being there.
And that's what I try to remind people is that they're generally going to be a happier person when they're not having to work harder, right?
And I think by you saying not work as hard or not work harder, I think that can be taken the wrong way, maybe, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm not saying lazy.
Right. It's just the machine is obviously being more efficient. So and your employees are working less hard because they're not doing those things by hand. And they're working on other little projects around the shop that they want to work on or they want to get done, or, you know, cleaning stuff, little things like that maybe get ignored because they were so busy not having a machine.
You know, and I think the thing, okay, let's back it up because I like that statement. It's not about not working hard. It's not having to kill themselves for it, right? That's what I mean by it is that they're still working their 8 hours days. They're still doing stuff, but they're not working 12-hour days now.
Right.
They're not working 16-hour days sometimes. And I'm going to tell you right now that sometimes you're going to have jobs that are going to require overtime, right? It's going to happen. And sometimes projects are going to require you to put in some extra effort. Lazy people will always have a problem with that.
For sure. Yep.
That's the easiest way for me to put it. Lazy people will always have a problem with that because they're not going to give you more than they have to. But your good employees will never have an issue with working hard on a job when they know it's a one-time thing or it's a rarity, right? Hey, this job is just a big job, so we have to get it done. The vast majority of good employees understand busy times.
Yep. Hey, it's only going to be a couple days a month.
Correct.
Whatever.
Or it's a month, for this 1 month, we're going to be slammed and then we're going to be in a good spot.
Yep.
They'll step up and do it. However, few people will understand being busy all the time and you doing nothing.
Correct.
And them just killing themselves for you.
And putting no effort into trying.
No change at all, right?
Yep.
Eventually, that's what pisses people off.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
That the burden didn't get reduced. The stress doesn't get really reduced. They just expect me to get it all done.
Yeah.
Eventually, then you just get pissed.
It's like, clearly, we're struggling to get it done this way. We need to make some sort of change to help.
Yeah. And admittedly, I didn't have that understanding a few years back. Okay. I felt like I had to work every hour to get where we needed to be. And I then realized that more employees would rather go home, and spend some time with their kids. And now that I have kids in hockey and sporting events, I want to go do that too.
For sure.
So it's like I start to realize that family vacation is important to people and their personal hobbies and events are important to them. So working them through those only turns them against you.
Correct. Yep.
And so, yeah, they'll work twice as hard for you if they start to feel like, yeah, you're not going to ask this of me all the time. Yes, I need it right now. We are in a crunch time. We got to get this done. It's a deadline. But I promise you, we'll make up for it, right?
Correct. Yep.
People will work for you. And, granting their vacations makes them happy, right? Accommodating them builds that team bond. And at that point, they're going to help you grow your business faster than you could ever grow it by trying to brute strength this thing through it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You got to try to get cooperation and buy-in. And that means sometimes you need to prioritize people over profits. And that's the hardest thing I think for a lot of business owners to understand is prioritizing people over the profit. Sometimes you just have to worry about the people more than you have to worry about the money, and it'll all take care of itself.
Well, the thing is that if the people aren't there at the end of the day, you're not going to have the profits.
That's exactly
next time, right? So do what you have to do within reason to keep those people happy and make them feel appreciated, right?
I think company culture is another part of growing yourself sustainably.
100%.
It's a key to success. People who like to be there will work harder.
For sure.
Simple as
just
that.
naturally.
Naturally.
Without even asking whatever. People are going to go above and beyond to do what they know needs to be done.
I ask you to think about your hobbies right now. Anybody listening to this, think about your hobbies for a second and what you like to do on the side. When you're not at work, what do you enjoy? So, what's that?
Sleeping.
Okay.
Just kidding.
For me, it's racing. And I'm going to use my racing as an example because this is something I can relate to. If my race car breaks down, I will work on it and put the hours in to do whatever I got to do because I enjoy it.
Correct.
Even though it's inconvenient, I didn't want my car to break down. I didn't want to spend 7 hours working on it. I'll do it because I enjoy it.
Correct.
But I'm going to tell you, when the lawnmower breaks down, I'm pissed. You know why? Because I hate mowing the yard. It's the same thing. Yeah. I'm still working on something, but it's the difference of passion. Yep. And that culture is that. If the business is something I enjoy and I want to be there, when something goes wrong, I want to put the energy into fixing it.
For sure.
I enjoy being there. And I think that's the biggest thing about growing your business in a sustainable way is understanding that the culture is important. And that means, especially when you're adding new team members or expanding to new areas, you have to think about that culture.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful not to hire the wrong people.
Or it's definitely, once you get down a bad road, right, it's hard to dial it back and get it down the right direction. It's easy to kind of instill that good culture from the beginning. But if it's any way astray, it's hard to bring it back.
Absolutely. You got to think about your onboarding process, have a clear communication internally, set expectations and processes, hold people accountable, have clear guidance. All of those things are important to set your culture. But once the culture is everybody buys into the culture, it runs itself.
Right. And I think you kind of see, it's a little bit off topic, but I think you see when you set those expectations and when you're firm with what needs to be done, you see the people that understand what's meant by that, right? And don't take offense to it or don't think that it's going to be too difficult of an environment to work because you have expectations or a job to get done and you're held accountable to it. That's not a bad thing.
I think the easiest way for me to look at it is from a hockey team perspective. when you teach the team the way that you play the game, when somebody tries to go against the grain, the team stands up for the team.
For sure.
You hear it in the locker rooms.
Yep.
We don't do it here. We don't do it like that here. We don't do that here.
Yep.
Whatever they say, like the phrases of like, this isn't how we do things. And that one person is like brought back into line like, to realize like, we're not going to do that. We are a team.
And that kind of goes back to what I said, like, it's as long as it's kind of nipped right away, right? And they push them back in the line, it's going to be fine.
And you're going to lose some people because of it.
Sure.
Like sometimes the culture will drive the wrong people out of your business, which is okay. Sometimes that's better for your business, right? Especially for sustainable growth.
I mean, sometimes it is addition by subtraction, as they say, right?
Correct.
One bad egg, you can't just kind of have ruining everything for everybody.
Correct. Now, going past that, you also need to be realistic with your growth goals. You have to take a step before you run, right?
For sure.
You can't immediately go, I'm going to reach for the moon today. Well, you're going to have a hard time since we don't even have a rocket.
Yeah.
Right? Like we got to get the next step first. And sometimes that I see that in businesses where they see a big corporation or they see a big somebody doing something. We're going to do that too. You got a long way to go before you get there. And if you try to go there immediately, you're going to burn yourself out.
Right. And those big companies didn't go there immediately either. They just, you noticed it when it went on a big scale, right? Or had a big scale change, but they worked into it as well, just like you have to as a smaller business.
Agreed. And I think that's what you have to, make sure you're capable of doing what you want to do. You have to make sure you're setting goals off of realistic expectations within the organization. And are they goals that your team aligns with?
Yep.
Because it's one thing to set goals for yourself, but you have nobody else who agrees with you. And the problem is you're going to find out you're going to have a hard time hitting these goals when people are working against you.
And I think, like you said, being realistic with those goals, right?
Yep.
Like maybe set a goal a year from now.
Yes.
But then have goals at like the 3, 6, and 9 month mark as well.
Yep.
To kind of take your baby steps and make it a marathon, not a sprint to the top.
That's part of my whole thought process here as I go through this is you have to think about those type of things that where are we going? Set realistic goals, right? And nobody likes a missed goal,
right?
It demoralizes the team. So sometimes you need to set smaller goals to start building that momentum.
Yep.
Like when you start winning as a team, they always talk about momentum shift in sports.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And it's a real thing. You score that first, you score that first goal, you have momentum, and the other team instantly has the opposite. Like, oh my God, we're already behind. And then you score another goal. Mm-hmm. And the momentum continues to shift because the team that's now has 2 goals feels like they're going to go get a third. Yep. And the team who has down 2 is going to go, they're going to get a third. Yep. So you start scrambling. And that's what in hockey, I refer to it as chasing. I always tell the team, quit chasing because you end up out of position. You end up doing things that you wouldn't normally do because you start to feel that momentum shift.
Just got to let it happen and work towards
get back to the basics.
Right? Do what you know can win that game.
Exactly. You got to get back to it. And that's where it is like helping your team achieve goals so they can ramp up and find that momentum, right? Yep. And then sometimes you just need to understand that means you need to invest in things around the business, whether that be infrastructure, processes, tooling, technology, people. You talked about people. Like you have to invest in the areas you need to build that momentum. Like, guys, we're doing good. We made some stride. We're going to buy this CNC machine today. We're going to buy that dust collector. We're going to upgrade the software. We're going to make your lives easier. We're going to do this. Let's go.
Yep. And then those things show your employees the appreciation for them meeting those goals or getting to, the goals that you set for them. And there's a reward at the end, right? Not everybody needs that, but
but no, they do. You know what? Every person needs a reward.
I just mean like not every person is only going to work towards that goal.
Correct.
So they can get the reward, right?
Got it.
Obviously the reward needs to be there for everybody to get there, but certain people just are going to work hard for it no matter what.
And I think that's their reward though, is to them, it's that personal satisfaction.
For sure.
Right. And I think that's what you have to remember is that I think one thing I see too in business a lot is the lack of being able to delegate. You see a lot of business owners where I got to do it all.
Yeah.
And I was that guy. I had to do it all. Like I was a martyr. I'll just do the marketing, the sales, the tech support. I'll do everything I can do. And I realized that again, I burnt myself out. You can't do it all, right? And you can't be a martyr all the time. Otherwise, nobody's going to buy in with you because why would I try to help out? He's just going to do it himself anyways, right? Yep. So you have to find a way to delegate effectively. Let's be clear. Don't just give things away to give things away, but delegate effectively and appropriately. I mean, I'm not going to give my son the accounting stuff. He's 10 years old. That would be a bad idea.
Right.
But it lightens your load so you can focus on the things that you're really good at. And it gives others a sense of pride. And honestly, empowering some of your up and coming, stars in your business
For sure.
is the best thing you can do. Show them that their hard work means something.
And show them that you trust them to do those things that you felt like you were the only one that could do. And now that your employee is going to be like, hey, wow, he's been doing that for 10 years and now he's trusting me to do it. And that's a big thing for people. I
think you see it in business a lot where an up and coming star doesn't feel appreciated and they leave.
Yeah.
And they become a major player at a different company.
Yep.
And that other company kicks themselves because they're like, man, we could have had him. He was on our staff, but they just didn't see it. And like for us, I feel like we do a pretty good job of that around here, ShopSabre specifically. And that's not me. I'm not saying this is on Brandon. This is on my dad. This is on Jim. I think of Billy in the welding department. He is that guy. My dad empowered Billy, when we first got started. And then Billy's like capabilities were beyond what ShopSabre could offer him as a position. And we encouraged him, like, go, like, do it. You have to, right? He took that other job, grew his career, and then full circle, we were hiring for a bigger position and he came back and now Billy runs our welding department.
That's awesome.
Like, that's what you're doing. You're empowering people to be able to grow.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, could you have tried to hold Billy down that whole time? That would have made him have animosity, right?
And he probably wouldn't have come back.
He probably wouldn't have stayed as long and not come back with anywhere near the excitement that he has.
Right. So, but I guess in general, if you hold somebody back like that and don't want them to do whatever, and then eventually they leave, and then 2 years down the road they see, oh, they have a job posting. But I remember how they treated me a couple of years ago, not wanting me to, maybe not necessarily saying you don't want them to succeed is not the right way to say it, but you didn't want them to like continue to grow, and they're not.
Sometimes you just look at it, they're holding me down.
Sure,
people are holding me,
and
down.
then that person doesn't come back, and you miss out on somebody that you wish you would have had,
and you still lost them anyways.
Yep.
So it's like, change is scary for most people. I will say that change is scary, but almost 100% of the time, change is necessary.
Yep.
Like it gets you to a level that you weren't at before because it's a change, right?
Well, we've always said those uncomfortable situations or uncomfortable decisions usually lead to good in the end.
Becoming comfortable in uncomfortable situations is a necessary evil, right?
Memory.
Yeah. Implementation of technology, right? Software, tools, processes, etc. Whatever, it's going to help you achieve things that you couldn't do before because of the capabilities they give you.
Correct.
And, upgrading buildings like what we did here, upgrading building or buying a mill, right? We bought an aerospace mill. They're difficult decisions, but now we look at them as they were basic decisions,
right?
Like at the moment they were scary.
And I think too, it's one of those things that people don't necessarily see happen, right? Or know that happens.
Right.
People probably just, that come here to the facility now probably think, oh, this is how they've always been. This is where it's always from.
Yep.
But like you said, it started in JB's garage, cutting stuff for his wife, and it's gone to this. Like, it's crazy to just think about the transformation that's gone through.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing about automation. I'm going to kind of wrap this topic up with, it's the same thing for adding a CNC plasma or a router or a pipe cutter. It's going to open doors you simply can't open any other way. Doing it by hand, doing it the old school way has its limitations. Yes, you could cut stuff, but you are not going to get the same level of customers. You just won't.
No.
People aren't going to come to you when they can't get the work done. And you have to set a long-term vision over a short-term goal. And I mean that many business owners look at that shiny pickup truck. That's the short-term goal, right? Buy that shiny pickup truck. But they don't realize that like a CNC machine can buy them 10 of those shiny pickup trucks.
Right.
So instead of investing in the product that's going to grow their business sustainably, they're going to buy that one pickup truck because they can flashy show it off to their buddies.
Right.
And that goes back to, you have to invest in what will make your life easier, what will help you reach your goals long-term. So that's what I got for that topic. But it kind of leads me into my next topic here of, of course, the internet being broken, right? The internet is broken. There was a comment last week, which, as all of you know, and I'm going to show it on camera, I have paper. Yes, I write notes. There was a comment about how somebody made a comment that said, I'm clearly reading from the paper. Absolutely. I am not going to sit here and pretend that I'm an actor and that I memorize all this. I promise you, I have a million things going on that I write these things down as I think of them because I think they're good conversational pieces. So I make notes, and they're just bullet point notes on my paper, and I go through it. And I don't know if it's just an attempt to make themselves feel better or bring me down, make me feel bad about myself. I don't. I appreciate the criticism because you're right. I do look down at my paper and I do look at my notes, but I believe in getting the facts right. So when I'm talking about something, I try to look at what I was saying. I don't try to pretend to be something I'm not. And 100%, I believe in being prepared.
Absolutely.
And coming with no notes and trying to wing it is a heck of a lot less prepared and professional, in my opinion, than coming to it with notes and having a set like, hey, this is what my thought is, and this is where I want to go with it.
And then we don't sit here for 5 seconds, look 5 seconds looking at each other, wondering what we should say next.
And you don't go, it's just, I try to build through thought.
Yep.
It was kind of a rude comment, in my opinion, and unnecessary. I'm one of those guys. I'm real. I'm a real human. I'm a real guy. I'm here trying to do the best I can every day with sales and marketing and helping our customers and doing everything I can do. So yes, I do read from notes once in a while. And again, this is why the internet's broken, is that like literally out here trying to just give people insight on things and topics. And honestly, you might not agree with my opinion sometimes. That's fine.
Right.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and my opinion is not the only one, and it's not always right. You can change my mind. I promise you. If you give me enough facts and you put it in front of me and we have a conversation, I will change my mind once in a while. But I will always come prepared with notes, and that's just who I am. So there it is.
I don't get that one.
I didn't get that one.
I say that every week.
Yeah, I didn't get that one either. It kind of blew me. I had to read it twice because I thought it was a joke. I'm like,
like maybe not that there's any reasoning behind the comment that you could give that would make it make sense, but like instead of just saying that, like maybe give a reason why you think it's
like
I don't know. Like
I don't know. Weird. I guess maybe I'm supposed to be more professional with it than that, but I use notes. I always have, always will. It's probably just going to be part of my life, but yeah,
that's what it is.
There it is. Internet's broken.
I write notes
still
on a notepad all day long about things I need to remember to do.
I tell my sales guys every time we go to a meeting, you don't walk into a meeting without a notepad.
No.
Like if you can't write down your thoughts and your what you're thinking, because my thing is, as somebody's talking, if I come up with an idea, I write it down in a meeting.
For sure.
So I can bring it up later on if I have something I want to talk about.
Well, and you talk about 5 million things. You're not going to remember all of them. Why not just write them down?
That's what I said. I got all these pages. Like,
I know.
Yeah, we're going to go through them.
And then I printed single-sided and used twice as much paper as I needed to.
Way to go.
I'll be honest, I didn't look at it before I printed it. And I was like, oh, it's going to be the regular 2 pages. That thing just kept going and going. And I'm like, what did I do? Print 74 copies? Nope, just one.
Just one. Oh, that's awesome. So anyways, internet's still broken. Motivational quote of the week. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill.
Nailed it.
I love that one. So success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is a courage to continue that counts. So remember, just because you're winning doesn't mean you'll always win. Just because you're losing doesn't mean you're always going to lose. You have to put in the work and keep going.
Correct.
And that's a reminder. I put that to sales guys. I love to talk to sales guys because that's one of my passions in the world is sales, is to remember sales is a lot like an EKG machine. There's an up and a down all the time.
Yep.
And you have to find a way to stay in the middle, because if you ride the top, you're going to find the fall a lot further.
For sure.
And if you ride the bottom, that climb to the top, it becomes almost impossible.
Yep.
You got to find a way to be in the middle. And that just as a business owner, as an employee, success isn't final. Again, failure is not fatal. You have to keep going. So find some courage, keep plugging through it. I know it's hard on the hard days to keep going sometimes. And sometimes you just wonder why you're doing it. Somebody says something to you and gets under your skin and it makes you question everything. But remember why you got started.
Correct.
Just remember that all.
Remember all the good days.
I just tell everybody, remember why you started.
Yep.
Because it's hard during the middle sometimes. But if you remember what motivated you to start, many times it'll keep you going.
Absolutely.
So I just tell you, remember that. So that's my final thoughts for the day. Final thoughts for me is simply keep your mind clear. Don't let the negative in. You got to keep the negative out. Keep working through it. I promise you things are changing. You're gonna get where you need to go. I'm confident. I believe in you. I appreciate everybody listening to us, but it's all about keeping people moving forward. That's my final thought today.
I like it. I think my final thought is I can't wait for Dill Pickle lemonade at the fair this week.
You're wearing a Dill Pickle colored shirt.
No.
I realized it.
Hey, that's pretty good.
It was. I saw it during the episode, and I was like, "That's Dill Pickle color."
For all the people in Minnesota that are listening, just give it a shot. You won't be disappointed. Try the Dill Pickle lemonade.
I'm gonna try it.
The Dill Pickle pizza is really good too.
I'm gonna try the Dill Pickle. I like Dill Pickle. Just for the record.
Listen, I'm one of the pickiest people on the planet.
I know you are.
I don't eat a lot of things besides like chicken strips with ketchup, cheeseburgers, cheese pizza, like the basic of the basic, right? Like I don't mix things.
Right.
Dill Pickle pizza is one of my favorite things.
I like dill pickles.
Yeah.
Like I like dill pickle chips. I like them all. I just lemonade is what you get.
It sounds so weird, but it's so good, dude. I bought dill pickle lemonade pack or dill pickle packets at the candy store in Jordan.
Did you?
And have made it at home myself.
Okay.
It's not obviously the same because they know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
but it's pretty darn.
All right. I'll try it. You got me.
I can't wait till you're back.
I'm going to try it.
Are you going to
So
prepare this
I'm going
weekend?
Thursday. Hopefully
So
next episode,
Tuesday we can talk.
I'll be able to tell you.
You're going to be like, I brought
Yay or
5
nay.
gallons of it home.
Yeah. I'll be able to tell you yay or nay. And if it's nay,
See,
You'll
the
never hear
best
that.
part is, I don't know. We always take the bus down there, so we don't have to park and anything.
that's smart.
The best part is that booth is right on your way back towards the buses, so you can get off of the bus ride home as well.
Yep. So like the big roundabout, like
Yep.
bus area,
That's right.
that's where I park.
Yeah, it's in like the old, like the the part that's got like kind of the shopping and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right where the Sky Ride
Yep.
starts.
Yep.
It's in that little thing back there.
Okay.
You can't miss it. Get one.
All right.
Get one when you get there.
So it's like back where like they have the, what do they call the chicken leg? That chicken leg, the, you know what I'm talking about? The big like, why can I not think of the word?
I don't know. The Sky Ride that's by the buses, right?
Yeah, I know you're
By
talking
the
about.
police station.
Yeah, I know you're talking
It's in,
about.
it's in there. You can't miss
All
it.
right, we're going to get
So you walk in, you get one, so you can walk around with it all morning at the fair. And you get
Not
one,
gonna be all
get
morning.
one on the way out.
It's either I drink it because I like it or I throw it in the garbage because I didn't like it.
No, you just gotta you gotta kind of sip it like whiskey. You don't like chug. You don't like chug it. You just
This isn't gonna go
nice
well. I
drinks.
can already
Oh,
tell.
it's gonna go.
You can already tell us it's going to go well.
Just don't chug it. Just
I'm chugging it.
enjoy it nicely.
I'll be very
And
thirsty.
then
by
the
the time we
pickles
go.
under the ice at the end. Best part. With
I like pickles.
crunchy lemonade flavored pickle.
I do like
It's so
pickles.
good.
They're good.
What just
All right.
happened?
I'm going to try it.
Jeez.
I'm going to try it.
All right. I really hope you do.
I'm going to. I told you I'll try it.
I cannot wait for that Snapchat at 7 a.m. of you chug Dill pickle.
It's not 7 a.m. I got to work that day.
Oh, you're going during the week?
I'm going Thursday.
Oh, you're going
It
Thursday?
opens on Thursday, so I'm
Oh,
going
I know,
after
but-
work.
Oh, sweet.
So you'll know Friday morning right away.
Oh, I can't wait. No, I'll know Friday at about 6:15 when you get there.
Thursday.
Thursday. So,
Yeah.
See,
You'll get there eventually.
that's why we have notes.
Yeah, me and
what I said a minute.
Me and my wife are going to go. It's just we're having a date night.
That's nice.
Kids are going to Nana's house, and we're going to go have a date night. We're going to go to the
Dill
steak
pickle lemonade and dill pickle pizza for
Yep.
dinner. Hell yeah.
There it is. Yep. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try it. So here we go.
Hope she likes this idea that I had for you.
Yeah, well, she
She hasn't liked many other
I
ones.
say you've struck out on most of them. So, but as always, we appreciate each and every one of you listeners listening to us every week talk about things that a lot of times don't matter, but hopefully you find some humor in it and you've had some fun with us. But again, we appreciate you tuning in every week to another episode of Talking Shop. And with that, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.